Today I'm going to go over all the new cards in the Space-Time Smackdown packs, A2 and Pokemon TCG Pocket. These were just leaked in the new update where trading came out. I'm looking at Pokemon-Zone.com. They've got a list of all the cards here that are available in the Space-Time Smackdown packs. I'm going to go through and look at the EXs and the other cards and see which ones I think will be good in battling. Let's get started. I'll have in the description like links to different parts of good cards if you want to skip straight to there. So first off, we got Oddish, Gloom, and Bellossom here. Oddish is Blot attack, only does 10 damage, but it heals 10 damage. It has a 60 HP and a 20 plus fire weakness and 1 retreat cost. And it's not that great of an attack, but it heals 2 damage. I don't think this Pokemon's that great. It evolves into Gloom here. 1 energy for 30, not too bad, but it's it's the first stage, so not too much damage. And Bellossom here does decent damage for 2 grass energy here, and has 130 HP. Does 80 damage, which isn't too bad for not having any like effects that would limit its damage. But I don't think this set is that great. You got Tangela and Tangrowth here. Vine Whip, 2 energy, 1 grass, and 1 colorless. Does 30 damage. That's not that much for 2 energy. It has 70 HP and 20 fire weakness, a 20 plus fire weakness, and 1 retreat cost. And Tangrowth, it has 4 energy. It takes 4 energy, 3 of those being grass and 1 colorless. Does 90, but also heals 30 damage to it from itself, which is not too bad of an attack. Has 130 HP. It'll just take a while to get the 4 energy on it that you need. Maybe with like Superior or something, it would only need 2 energy, but that would take a while to get both sets up probably. Has a 3 retreat cost, which is pretty high. Same 20 plus fire. Yanma here, 20 damage with or colorless energy and 50 HP, and it's weak to electric, 20 plus weakness with 1 retreat cost. Yanmega EX here, it evolves here from Yanma. 140 HP and 3 of any energy, colorless. Air Slash does 120 damage. Discard a random energy from this Pokemon. It's colorless, so random normally wouldn't matter too much, but I think there's a card in here that now pulls energy from the discard pile, so it would matter which one randomly gets removed potentially for that card and potentially future cards. So it's probably why it says random energy. Not too bad. 120 damage, only remove 1 energy. You can get that back up the next turn. So stage 1. It kind of reminds me of Ninetales, except it takes 3 instead of 2, but does 30 more damage. So, but it's an EX too. Okay, Roselia next, 70 HP. Does 20 damage with 1 grass energy, and it's weak to fire with 20 plus. Just kind of a standard card. Roserade here, its evolution. Poisonous Whip. Does 50 damage and your opponent Pokemon is now poisoned. 2 energy, 1 of them being grass. That's not too bad of an attack. 50 damage isn't a whole lot, but if you're poisoning your opponent, that can do a lot more damage over time or force them to retreat to keep from getting poisoned. It has a 2 retreat cost. This is not too bad, depending on what kind of deck you're going to make. If you're going to try to do a lot of poison damage or have Pokemon that do extra damage with poison if they're already poisoned. I got Turtwig here. Takes 2 energy, 1 grass and 1 colorless, and does 30 damage. Not too great. Has a pretty high HP for a basic Pokemon of a multi-stage evolution chain. 20 plus weakness to fire and 2 retreat cost. Its evolution has 100 HP, so it goes up by 20. Requires an extra grass energy and does 30 extra damage, 60. Still not a whole lot for 3 energy, doing 60 damage. Has a 3 retreat cost. But you got Tortarrea here, it's 160, so it grows 60 HP. And requires 1 extra colorless energy. And Frenzy Plant does 150 damage. That's a big jump. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't use this attack. So you can do 150 and then you can attack the next turn. And with a 4 retreat cost, it would probably be hard to switch out for another Pokemon without removing multiple energy. You could use Leaf, but that only removes 2 of the retreat costs. So you'd be vulnerable for 1 turn, but 150 could knock out something like a Mewtwo. So it could be okay. We'll see how this plays out in the meta. We got Kricketot. I think that's how it's pronounced. 60 HP. Bug Bite. 1 grass energy for 20 damage. Kind of standard, nothing special. 20 plus fire weakness and 1 retreat cost. And its evolution, Kricketune, does 90 HP and does 50 damage with 1 grass and 1 colorless. And your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. I think this is the first set where we've had confusion. Has a 20 plus fire weakness and 1 retreat cost. So this could be decent. And next we got a Burmy. I think that's maybe how it's pronounced. 60 HP, 1 energy, but only does 10 damage, which is very low. And 20 plus fire weakness and retreat of 1. It's one of its evolutions here. It has multiple in this set, but it's grass evolution. Wormadam. Leaf Cutter. It requires 1 grass and 2 colorless. Does 60 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, its attack does 30 more, so it could potentially do 90. But that's on a coin flip. But for 3 energy, I don't know. I don't really like this too much. It does have 120 HP, which is decent, and a 2 retreat cost here. We got Combee. It has Call for Family. Put 1 random basic Pokemon from your deck onto your bench. This could be good for getting Pokemon you need. And its evolution here is 2 grass energy and does 70 damage, which isn't too bad. Has 100 HP. It's decent for a first stage. If you think of like Electrode, in the Genetic Apex set, it does 70 damage for 2 electric energy, but has less HP. But this has 2 retreat costs. That has no retreat costs, so that's the advantage of it. Carnivine here has 90 HP. Flog does 40 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 50 more damage. So a base 40 and a potentially 50 for 90. This would be kind of, it's a basic Pokemon. If it's only having this attack and taking 3 energies to get it going, I don't think this would be that great. Has a 1 retreat cost and a 2 plus, a 20 plus fire energy weakness. We got Leafeon. We saw this one in the promo video. It has 90 HP. It evolves from Eevee, of course. Leafy Cyclone does 90 damage, but this is what we saw. It was said in the video. We couldn't see the full text, but during your next turn, this Pokemon can attack, kind of like Tortarrea up here. Does 90 damage for only 2 energy, 1 being grass and 1 being colorless. So this could be decent, only a 1 retreat cost. So this could potentially be okay in a deck with Eevee. Let's go. Mow Rotom. Energy cutoff does 30 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. This could be annoying to your opponent if you keep getting heads. If they're having energy on their active Pokemon, if they're powering up their bench and have something there just to stall, it's not going to help too much. Shaymin's, I kind of like Shaymin, has 60 HP here. Its ability, once during your turn, you may heal 10 damage from each of your Pokemon. So all your bench Pokemon and your active Pokemon, you can heal 10 damage to. And since this is just a basic Pokemon, you can just keep it on the bench and constantly heal 10 damage a turn. Its attack's not that great. A grass energy and a colorless energy does 30. But this is something I think you would just leave on the bench and heal your Pokemon a little bit every turn. Has a 20 plus fire weakness and a retreat of 1 energy. Magmar here, it's kind of interesting. 80 HP here. And stroke, take an energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. So, takes 1 energy for that. What is good about this is its next evolution, but first its weakness is water with 20 plus damage and a retreat cost of 2 energy. So its evolution, Magmortar, has 130 HP. It takes 4 fire energy for 100 damage, and it burns your opponent's active Pokemon. So that's nice. And with this Magmar here, 2 turns of its attack and attach an energy for 2 turns, you could have enough for this Blazing Inferno from Magmortar, which seems pretty good. 100 damage plus the burn. I kind of like this combo here. You got Slugma here with 70 HP, Flare with 20 damage, a 20 plus water weakness, and a 2 retreat cost. Not that great. 2 retreat costs, only 20 damage. Its evolution here, Magcargo, has 120 HP. It requires a fire and a colorless energy. And Searing Flame does 30 damage, and your opponent's Pokemon is now burned. I don't know that I like this one that much. It has a 3 retreat cost, which is more than the energy you need to put on it for its attack, and a 20 plus fire or water weakness. So not really liking this combo so much. This evolution chain I'm kind of liking. Chimchar does has 60 HP. 1 energy does 20 damage, so you can get attacking the first turn you have an energy. 20 plus water weakness and a 1 retreat cost. Its evolution here has 80 HP, still 1 energy, and does 30 damage, so just kicking up the damage by 10. It's not that great. 1 retreat cost, same weakness, but its evolution is an EX, and it's 170 HP, which is on the higher end, and Flare Blitz does 140 damage, but you have to discard all fire energy from this Pokemon. So not just 2 or whatever. So you can't just stack up energy on here, like 4 energy from a Moltres or something. You'll lose them all with the attack. But having 140 damage is pretty good. Just need like a Giovanni and it'd be enough to knock out a Mewtwo. What's nice about this though is it does have a 0 retreat cost. So you could attack and discard your energy, and the next turn retreat it, bring up another Pokemon, power it back up, then swap it out. Kind of interested in if this will play into the meta at all. Heat Rotom here, or second Rotom, has 80 HP, requires a fire and a colorless, and does 30 plus damage. Flip a coin if heads, this attack does 30 more damage, so 30, potentially 60 damage. Not terrible, but not great. Okay, let's go to the water Pokemon. Swinub, 60 HP, requires 2 energy, a water, and a colorless, and does 40. At least it does 40 here. That's okay. Has a 20 plus weakness to metal energy, or metal Pokemon, and a 2 retreat cost. Its evolution, Palswan here, has 110 HP, not bad. This Pokemon takes negative 20 damage from fire and water type Pokemon. That's decent. And then it does 60 damage with a 2 water energy and a colorless, So its attack's not that much, but it also has negative 20 to fire and water decks, but any other decks it's not the best against. So I don't know too much about this combo. I don't think it's going to do that well. It has a 3 retreat cost here. And then its final evolution here is a little better. It has 160 HP, and this Pokemon takes negative 30 damage from fire and water Pokemon, and has 2 water energy and 2 colorless energy to do 120 damage. Now this in the line makes it better. That's a pretty decent amount of damage. 4 energy. It can take a little bit to build up, but if you have a Misty and get lucky, you can build up faster. And it'd be great if you're facing a fire or water deck. Negative 30 is pretty good. Little Pokemon like this one right here, Prinplup, won't do any damage. The 4 retreat cost is pretty high, every energy on it. Next we got Regice here. Kind of like the artwork on this one. Has 110 HP and has a crystal body ability. Prevent all effects of attack by your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. So no sleeping, no paralyzing, no fire damage, no confusion. So that's pretty decent. It only has a 50 attack with 2 water energy though, which isn't too great. And a 2 retreat cost, the same, plus 20 steel energy weakness. We got the Piplup here. We saw it before this leak. It has a nap attack that deals 20 damage from this Pokemon. It's weak to electric by 20 plus, and has a 1 retreat cost. We got Primplup here with 90 HP that evolves from Piplup. Requires an extra water energy and does 30 damage. Same weakness, same retreat cost. And Flareon, it has 150 HP, so it goes up by 60 here. Aqua Jet requires 1 extra water energy, so 2 water energy and 1 colorless. Does 80 damage. This attack also does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, so this is pretty decent. 80 damage to active Pokemon and 30 damage to a bench Pokemon. Has a decent HP. We got the next Pokemon, Blizzle. Maybe that's how it's pronounced. It has 60 HP. Water Gun, 1 energy, 1 water energy for 20 damage. Nothing special here. 1 retreat cost, 20 plus electric weakness. Its evolution, Fluxel, has an extra 30 HP for 90 HP. Jet Screw does 30 damage. Flip a Coin if has this does 30 more. Only takes the same 1 energy and 1 retreat cost. So does 10 more damage, base damage. If Flip a Coin potentially does 60. Not the best in the world, not the worst in the world. We got Shellos here. You can see the little Manaphy in the background. Like the art on this card. Has 70 HP. And requires a water and a colorless energy to do 30 damage for Mud Slap. Retreat cost is 2, 20 plus electric weakness. And Gastrodon, its evolution, gains another 50 HP to have a total of 120. It requires an extra colorless energy, so 1 water and 2 colorless for Muddy Water. Does 60 damage. And then this attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So I guess you get to pick which Pokemon you want to do 20 damage to with this. The same 20 plus electric weakness. But 3 retreat cost here. This one could potentially be okay. Not the best, I don't think, but we'll see. Flinnon, maybe that's how it's pronounced. only has 50 HP, which is kind of low. And Elegant Swim does 10 damage. Flip a coin if heads, your prevent all damage and effects done by your opponent's attacks to this Pokemon. So if you get heads, you're not going to be damaged, but it only does 10 damage. Not the great. Its evolution here only has 90 HP. Has a 1 energy for 50 water damage, which isn't that bad for 1 energy. But it's also stage 1, so kind of want some more out of a stage 1 Pokemon since you have to evolve to get it. So I don't think this one's that great. Snover here, 70 HP. Ice Shard 10 plus, 1 water energy to retreat. So more retreat than the energy you need to do its attack. Let's see, with its attack Ice Shard, if your opponent's active Pokemon is a fighting type Pokemon, this attack does 30 plus damage. So the default's only 10, and if it's a fighting, it does 40. I don't really like this one that much. Its evolution is a lot more powerful. Has 140 HP, so double. Requires 4 energy, 3 of them being water and 1 colorless to do 120. Its retreat cost is pretty high at 4. If you got lucky with a Misty, maybe okay, but I'm not the biggest fan of this combo. We got Glaceon here, 90 HP, evolves from Eevee. 2 water energy, Ice Beam does 60 damage. Flip a coin if heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. So 60 damage for 2 energy and a potential paralyzation. This isn't too bad. The Eevees with the and Leafeon, both I think are pretty decent. Wash Rotom here, it has 80 HP. 1 water energy does 30 damage. Nothing special about it. Requires 2 energy to retreat. The 20 plus electric. Weakness, I don't think this is that great. Has no evolution, just does 30 damage. 2 retreat costs more than energy you would normally put on it. And then another Rotom, Frost Rotom. This one has a metal energy weakness of 20 plus. Only 1 retreat cost though, but it requires 2 energy for its attack. Blizzard does 30 damage. This attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. I think this is probably better than Wash Rotom in my opinion, but probably wouldn't use it myself. Okay, here's one of the big cards in the set. The Palkia EX has 150 HP. Its first attack is 1 water energy for 30 damage, so it's a good 30 damage to start off with. For a basic Pokemon, has a 2 retreat cost and a 20 plus weakness to electricity. Its biggest attack, Dimensional Storm, requires 4 energy, 3 of them being water and 1 colorless. Does 150 damage, which is enough to knock out a lot of Pokemon in the game. Mewtwo, which is a big one in the meta, Pikachu EX. Most Pokemon can be knocked out by this or close to it. But you have to discard 3 water energy from this Pokemon. But it also does 20 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So this can be pretty powerful. It has a 3 energy discard and it's pretty tough, but it does a lot of damage. Plus 20 damage to your bench Pokemon. Yeah, have some Misty and get lucky. This could be really good. I think we'll see several decks played with this. We got Manaphy here, has 50 HP. Oceanic Gift, choose 2 of your bench Pokemon. For each of those Pokemon, take a water energy from your energy zone and attach it to the Pokemon. So you basically get, with this attack, it only takes 1 water energy, and you get to attach 1 water energy to 2 of your bench Pokemon. So this can be a good thing to power up at the start of the game, if you can get it then. Only 1 retreat cost, and a 20 plus electric weakness. I don't think Manaphy's too bad. I think it might be used some. Magnemite, 60 HP, 10 damage, 1 retreat cost, and 20 plus fighting weakness. I would probably want to go with the one from previous packs. And Magneton has 80 HP, requires 2 electric energy for 50 damage, which isn't terrible. I think the other one requires 4 energy for It's only 60 damage. The ones from Genetic Apex has 1 retreat cost and the same 20 plus fighting weakness. But the thing with the one from Genetic Apex, though, is you can add an energy to it each turn, a lightning energy, which might be helpful for its final evolution. Magnezone, 140 HP, takes 1 electric energy and 2 colorless. For Thunder Blast, does 110 damage. Discard an electric energy from this Pokemon. So this one has to discard an energy. So I think I go with the 2 previous ones from Genetic Apex, and then this one from these packs. If I were going to put this in a deck, it's not too bad here. Voltorb, 60 HP, has a big explosion attack with only 1 electric energy. Does 30 damage instead of the 20 from the Voltorb from Genetic Apex, but does 10 damage to itself. Sounds more like a Voltorb attack. 1 retreat cost, 20 plus fighting weakness. But I don't know. I might play this because having 30 damage and against water type Pokemon, you could knock out a Manaphy or some of these weaker ones that we've had before, or with a Giovanni, you could knock out some other Pokemon that start out. So taking 10 damage to itself, but have a higher chance of knocking out a Pokemon in the beginning of the game, might be worth it. Electrode here, it has its 80 HP. I think that's the same as the one from Genetic Apex. It has a retreat cost of 1, which is the one from Genetic Apex had no retreat cost. 20 plus weakness, but it only requires 1 energy from it for its attack instead of 2. Does 50 damage instead of 70. So honestly, I would probably want the one from Genetic Apex and maybe this Voltorb. My Pikachu deck, I run a Voltorb and Electrode, mainly because of the no retreat cost on the Electrode. So I think I would run this Voltorb and the Electrode from Genetic Apex. We got an Electabuzz here. It's similar to the Magmar we saw earlier. It has 80 HP, weakness 20 plus fighting, 2 retreat costs, which is 1 more than the energy it needs for its attack, which only needs 1 electric energy. A charge attack, take an electric energy from an energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. This is good for powering up its evolution, just like Magmar up here, powering up Magmortar. This one's a little different in the way Electivire works. Has 120 HP. It only requires 2 energy to attack, but it only does 40 damage on the base attack. But if you can get 2 more energy attached to it, it does 80 more damage, so 120 damage. So if you run this charge on Electabuzz twice and attach 2 energies to it on 2 different turns, you could have Electivire up to 120 attack by the time you evolve it. I think this could be pretty decent in an electric deck. Okay, we got the Shinx line. Shinx we saw like just a hint of this coming out of the pack in the video. It has 60 HP. Its attack takes 1 electric energy. It's called Hide. Flip a coin if heads during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all damage and effects from attacks to this Pokemon. Has a 20 plus weakness and a 1 retreat cost. This is similar to this Pokemon, but this one does 10 damage. This one does no damage. Shinx does no damage. Okay, it's Luxio. Its evolution does 90 has 90 HP, and requires an extra colorless energy, so 1 electric and 1 colorless, and does 40 damage. Not a whole lot, not the worst. Luxray, it has another 40 damage, HP. I keep wanting to say damage here. So 130 damage here. I keep saying damage. HP here. 3 electric energy required for this. Volt Bolt, discard all electric energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 120 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So you can pick whether you want a bench Pokemon or the active Pokemon. You could snipe some Pokemon, they move to the bench, or snipe a weaker Pokemon on the bench. So you have to discard 3 electric, which is kind of rough, but it has no retreat cost, so you could swap it out for something else. This one's interesting. I wonder if I'll see anybody play it. Me personally, I don't know if I'll play it, but could be decent, maybe. We'll see. Pachirisu EX. We've seen this already and kind of peeking out of the pack, and we couldn't see the full text, and then the Japanese one leaked. But now we have the English one here. Has 120 HP like Pikachu EX. Requires 2 electric energy like Pikachu EX. Only does 40 base damage, but if you attach a Pokemon tool to this Pokemon, it does 40 more damage. So that's a total of 80 damage, and you don't have to have bench Pokemon for this to work. So it could be good. We'll talk about the Pokemon tools later, but I'm liking this Pachirisu EX. Put a few Pokemon tools in your deck, and this could be good. The next Pokemon, it only has 1 retreat cost too. Same as Pikachu, and 20 plus fighting energy weakness. So it's like Pikachu, except the attack is a little different. Rotom, the regular one here, has 70 HP, and it does 20 plus damage. This one, if your opponent's active Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached, this does 30 more damage, so this could do 50 damage if a Pokemon like Pachirisu EX had a Pokemon tool attached to it. So that's pretty decent for a basic Pokemon. 20 basic damage, but a potential for 30 more damage. We'll see how much people use Pokemon tools, but this could be okay if people end up using them a lot. We got the Togepi line. The Togepi has 50 HP here. It has a pound attack, 1 psychic energy, only does 20 damage. Weakness of 20 plus steel energy, and has a 1 retreat cost. Not too great, but we'll go over to Togetic here. It has an 80 HP and 1 energy for 40 damage. Fairy Wind, that's pretty good for 1 energy. Same 1 retreat cost and same weakness. Togekiss, this one's HP jumps up to 140, so that's quite a bit jump. Only requires 2 psychic energy, does 60 base damage. And during your opponent, or during your next turn, this attack does 60 more damage. So you can do 60 one turn, 120 the next turn. So I'm thinking maybe if you keep using this, it does 60 damage, 120, 120, 120, as long as you keep attacking with this every turn after that. So this could be good. There's a supporter card that could make this better later. We'll talk about that. Same 1 retreat cost, which is good for a second stage. We got Mismagius here, 60 HP. Mumble does 20 damage, requires 1 psychic energy. Weakness to dark type, a plus 20. And 1 retreat cost. Its evolution, Mismagius EX, 140 HP. And it does 70 damage with 2 psychic energy. Your opponent's active Pokemon is also confused. Another confusion card. I guess this is maybe the second one we've had. This could be okay. Only 2 energy, 140 HP. You hope your opponent stays confused. We'll see how this is used. Only 1 retreat cost still. Not too bad. We got another Roltz here. Teleport switches out with one of your bench Pokemon. If you get this first turn, you could switch it out real easily. A lot of times you don't want Roltz as your active Pokemon, so it reminds me of kind of like Magikarp and Gyarados. Klarna. I can't pronounce this. I forget the name of it. 80 HP here. Slap does 20 damage for 1 energy for a first stage. I don't think this is that great. But I don't know if this one will be used, but this one will be good to use in the Gardevoir decks. I think the first Ralts, I don't know that I like this one too much. Same 1 retreat, same weakness. Its evolution is down below. It's not a psychic type, it's a fighting type. So we'll get to that later. Duskull has 60 HP. 1 psychic energy, Will-O-Wisp, does 20 damage. And 1 retreat costs 20 plus darkness, weakness. Dusclops, its first stage evolution, has 90 HP. Requires 3 energy, 1 of them being psychic and 2 colorless. Psy-Punch does 50 damage. Not a whole lot of damage for 3 energy, but has a 2 retreat costs, same weakness. We'll go on to its final stage. Dusknoir has 130 HP. Shadow Void, as often as you like during your turn, you may choose 1 of your Pokemon that has damage on it and move it all of its damage to this Pokemon. So this one's interesting. You could have it on the bench and suck damage from the Pokemon you're attacking with, but if you notice it says move all of the damage from that Pokemon to this Pokemon. So you can't move just part of the damage, like if this was going to be knocked out or something. So I don't know how much this would be used. Its attack is 70 for 3 energies, 1 psychic, 2 colorless. It's not that great. It could soak up some damage from your active Pokemon. I guess you could potentially knock this Pokemon out by sucking up the damage instead of maybe like an EX to only take 1 loss instead of 2 prize losses, but I guess it could potentially take more damage than it has HP. So let's say if this was down to 10 HP and your Pokemon has 100 damage, maybe you could take that 100 damage even though this has 10 HP. This could actually be interesting now to think more about it. But it's a second stage. It's going to take a little bit to get up. But I don't know. The more I think about this, the more I think it could potentially be good. But we'll have to see exactly how its ability actually plays out. If it's playing out the way I think it is or not. Drifloon that has 50 HP, has a 1 psychic energy attack, only does 10 damage, but during your opponent's next turn it takes 20 less damage. So if you got it out at the start of the game, you could get some Pokemon to not damage it at all or only do 10 damage. So not terrible. Only has 1 retreat cost, a 20 plus electric. Weakness, its evolution, Drifloon, has 100 HP, so double the HP. Same weakness in retreat. 2 psychic energy and 60 damage. Not too terrible for 60 damage for 2 energy, but I probably wouldn't use this, honestly. Here we got these 3 go together. They have the same art. Kind of Giratina has the same art too. Yuxi, 70 HP. It has Mind Boost, does 20 damage. Only 1 psychic energy required for this attack. And the attack, take a psychic energy from your energy zone and attach it to Misspirit or a Sylph. So you can use this to power up these 2 Pokemon, but if I were to take a guess, you'd probably want to power up Misspirit. We'll move on to it next. Same HP. Supreme Blast requires 3 psychic energy, but does 160 damage. That is really high. Of course, it has an effect if it's going to be that high. You can Can use this attack only if you have Uxie and Azelf on your bench. Discard all energies from this Pokemon. So you have to have both of these on the bench. And it discards all 3 energy. So it's basically like a 1 attack and done. And then you'd have to switch back to Uxie to power it up, potentially. I like the art on these cards, but I'm not sure I'm liking using them. There's only 70 HP too. So you'd only have 1 extra bench slot you could use. Okay, let's move on to Azelf. Has same HP 70. 1 Psychic Energy, Psychic Arrow. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So bench Pokemon or active Pokemon. Not too bad by itself. Actually, I kind of think this is decent by itself. You got Giratina here, has 120 HP. No EX for this Pokemon. I wonder if that'll come in the mid-refresh pack. That would be nice. Its ability, Levitate. If this Pokemon has any energy attached to it, it has no retreat cost. So it normally has 3 retreat costs. So if it has any energy, it has none. So that could be decent. It requires 2 Psychic and 1 Colorless to attack and does 70 damage. So yeah, it's a basic Pokemon, so it could potentially be okay. But I don't think it's the best. I don't think I would use it. Roselia has 110 HP, 2 Psychic Energy, Moonlight Gain does 50 damage and heals 20 damage from this Pokemon. It's decent for 2 energy and heals 20 damage. I don't know, it's a basic Pokemon. You could use this as like a kind of like a shield in front for a little bit. Do 50 damage, heal 20. While you power up something behind. Has a decent HP. We'll see how this is played. Has a 2 retreat cost though. 20 plus darkness weakness. Okay, let's move on to Rhyhorn here. It has an 80 HP. Requires a fighting and a colorless energy. Horn attack does 40 damage. Decent damage, but requires 2 energy. Has a 3 retreat cost though. Pretty high for a basic Pokemon. Only requires 2 for its attack. It has a 20 plus grass weakness. Right on here, moves up to 110 HP. Requires only 1 more fighting energy, 2 fighting energy, and 1 colorless total. 70 damage, not too bad. And a 3 retreat cost, same weakness. And Rhyperior here, its final second stage, has 160 HP, which is pretty high for a non-EX Pokemon. Its attack takes 3 fighting energy and 1 colorless, has 150 damage, and discard the top 3 cards of your deck. I think this is pretty good. Retreats 4, has a lot of HP, can do 150 every turn. You don't have to discard energy, just discard the top 3 cards of your deck. If you've already got everything out you want, this could be really good, I think. Especially with maybe like a Lucario on the bench we're going to talk about in a minute. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. Gligar does 60 HP, does 20 damage with 1 fighting energy, 1 retreat cost, and 20 plus grass weakness. Gliscor, its evolution, has 100 HP. Still the same 1 fighting energy for its attack. Does 20 plus this time. Flip 2 coins. This attack does 20 damage for each heads. So it does from 20 to 60 damage. I don't know. I don't know that I would use this, but I guess if you had Lucario, it could potentially do 40 to 80 damage. 2 retreat costs. I don't know. I don't think I would probably use it. Hitmontop, 80 HP, 50 damage with 2 energy, 2 fighting energy here, and a 1 retreat cost. 50 damage is not the best, but not bad for 2 energy. Nose Pass has 70 HP, 2 colorless energy, and does 30 damage. Has a 2 retreat cost and a 20 plus grass energy. If you notice, this has colorless, and there's no evolution here beside it. The evolution is in the steel type. We'll see it later, but that's probably why it has no fighting energy required. Regirock, 120 HP, and its ability, Exoskeleton. This Pokemon takes negative 20 damage from attacks. That's pretty decent. And requires 4 energy to get to attack, though. 3 fighting and 1 colorless, and does 100 damage. This one's kind of decent. It would take a long time to get going. It's only a basic Pokemon, though. 100 damage could potentially be 120, 140 if you have 2 Lucario. I keep getting ahead of myself with Lucario. Lucario's, I think, going to be great for fighting type decks, so I got to think about it with all this. Okay, so moving on to the next Pokemon. Kricketot has 90 HP, does 50 damage with 1 energy, 1 fighting energy, which is pretty good, but you got to remember this one is a first stage. It comes from a fossil. So you got to play the fossil first. But having 50 damage for 1 energy is pretty good. Has 2 retreat costs, I think I already said that, and a plus 20 grass weakness. Okay, its evolution, Rampardos, has 150 HP, which is pretty high. This is a second stage. Just 10 less than Rhyperior up here. Only takes 1 energy, does 130 damage. But with that high damage, only one energy required, you know there's a catch. If your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from this attack, this Pokemon does 50 damage to itself. So having 50 HP, you can do 3 attacks and you knock yourself out. But you could potentially knock out 3 Pokemon, or an EX and another Pokemon, and win the game before you knock yourself out. This could potentially be okay. I kind of like it. Like I've been talking about Lucario's ability. Could potentially make it where it can knock out almost anything. Okay, here's a Wormadam. Another one. This one is a fighting type. This one requires 1 fighting energy and 2 colorless, and does 70 damage. Not too bad, but I probably wouldn't use it. Requires 2 retreat and the same 20 plus grass weakness. Riolu has 60 HP, 1 energy required for its attack, does 20 damage, 1 retreat cost, and 20 plus psychic weakness. So this is just kind of basic, nothing special about it, but I keep talking about Lucario. I really like this card. It has 100 HP. This is one you'll probably leave on the bench unless you have to move it out. But its ability, Fighting Coach. Attacks used by your fighting type Pokemon do 20 plus damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. If you notice, this doesn't say it can only be used, like one of these be used like Superior does. So it sounds like you can have 2 Lucario on your bench and add 40 damage, up to 40 damage to your fighting type Pokemon. So this could potentially be 170. This could potentially be 190. So that's crazy. So yeah, I think Lucario will be really good. We'll see when the meta comes around. Hippopotos, 80 HP. Requires 3 energy though, 2 fighting and 1 Colorless does 60 damage. And 3 retreat costs. Not the best basic Pokemon. Take a long time to power up. Its evolution, Hippowdon, has 140 HP. Requires 1 extra fighting energy, 3 fighting energy, and a colorless total for 120 damage. That's pretty decent damage with no bad side effect. Requires 4 energy to retreat though. I probably wouldn't use this, honestly. And here's Glade EX. This is what I was talking about. Here's Ralts. Here's Carlina. And here's the new Glade. We haven't had this. We had its other evolution. So 170 HP. Only requires 2 energy to do 70 plus damage. This attack does 20 more damage for each of energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon, active Pokemon. So if you have something like this that has 4 energy, you're doing like 150 damage, 130 damage for 3 energies, 110 damage for 2 energies. So not quite enough to knock out a Pikachu EX. But this one's pretty decent. If you have Lucario here, it makes it better. So I kind of like this Pokemon. We'll see. I may make a deck with it. Murkrow. We're moving on to Darkness type Pokemon now. It has a 60 HP. Has Peck, does 20 damage for 1 Darkness energy. It is a electric type weakness with 20 plus. Has a retreat cost of 1 colorless or 1 energy. Its evolution, Honchkrow. This one is kind of good, I think. 100 HP. It has 2 Darkness energy needed. Skill Dive. This does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So active or bench Pokemon. That's pretty high. This may be pretty good. We got Sneasel. Oh, it requires 2 energy to retreat, so both energy on it. Same electric weakness. Sneasel, 60 HP. Double Scratch, 20x. Flip 2 coins, does 20 damage for each heads. So you could do from 0 to 40 damage. If you like flipping coins, this may be good for you. Only 1 retreat cost and grass weakness of 20. Weavile EX, its evolution, 140 HP. Still only requires the 1 Darkness energy and does 30 plus damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon has any damage on it, it does 40 more damage. So 70 damage for 1 energy is pretty good, potentially, but it's an EX. I don't know. I don't like this one that much. Yeah. I probably won't use it myself. We got Poochyena, 60 HP. Bite, does 20 damage, takes 1 Darkness energy. Weak to Grass, 20 plus weakness, 1 retreat costs. Its evolution, Mightyena, 90 HP. 2 energies required, a Darkness and a Colorless, and 60 damage. Not too bad for 2 energies. 1 retreat costs, same weakness. Yeah. Not too great, not terrible. Skunky, 70 HP. Does 10 damage with 1 energy. Not great at all. And 1 retreat cost. Weak to fighting. There's several different weaknesses in these Darkness type Pokemon. And Skunk Tank, 100 HP. It's a Skunky's evolution. Poison Gas does 50 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. So guaranteed poison, 50 damage, not bad. I don't like the 10 damage on the Skunky here, but this is Skunk Tank is pretty decent. Has a 2 energy retreat costs, same weakness. Spiritomb, 80 HP. Its attack. This attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. So if they have 1 active Pokemon, 4 bench Pokemon, 10 damage to each. That's very little damage, but it does 4 different Pokemon. I don't know. We'll see if people use it or not. Scorpy? I don't know, maybe that's how it's pronounced. 70 HP. Requires 2 energy, 1 darkness, 1 colorless. Does 30 damage. 2 retreat costs. And its evolution here. Tharpion. 120 HP. Requires 3 darkness energy. Cross Poison is its attack. Does 40 times damage. Flip 4 coins. This attack does 40 damage for each heads. But if you get at least 2 heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. So you could potentially do 160 damage. 0 to 160 damage. The average would be about 80 damage. And I guess average, they would more than likely be poisoned. So this is not too bad here. You 100 up to 160 damage and a potential poison, which is more likely. I kind of like this setup. 3 retreat cost, but you gotta like the coin flips if you want to play this Pokemon. You'll have good days and bad days depending on how your flips go. Croagunk has 60 HP, requires 2 darkness energy, and does 20 times damage. Flip a coin for each Pokemon you have in play. This attack does 20 damage for each heads. So each active and bench Pokemon. So that could be up to 4 flips. So it could do anywhere from 0 damage to 80 damage. Not too bad. Depends on how many Pokemon you have in play. But I kind of think it's okay. 1 retreat costs. Fighting weakness of 20 plus. Toxicroak has 90 HP. Same 2 energies. Group Breakdown. 40 times. Flip a coin for each Pokemon you have in play. This attack does 40 damage for each head. So it basically doubles the attack of Croagunk here. So this line could be good. For 2 energy instead of 3 energy, you could potentially do 160 damage if you have all your Pokemon on the field. All 4 Pokemon. It won't poison though. There's no chance of poison, but it only requires 2 energy. So these lines are kind of interesting. These 4 Pokemon. We got 2 different Darkrai. Let's go with the first one. The regular Darkrai, 110 HP, requires 3 energy. Dark Void does 60 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep, so a guaranteed sleep. Not too bad for 60 damage, and sleep, you just hope they don't wake up on the next turn. We got a Darkrai EX too, has an additional 30 HP. Wish you had a little bit more. Nightmare Aurora. Whenever you attach a darkness energy to this Pokemon, do 20 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So to power this up, you need 2 darkness energy and 1 colorless. It does 80 damage. But as you're powering it up, whether it's on the bench or not, you're doing 20 damage for every energy you attach from your energy zone to this Pokemon. So by the time you can attack for 80 damage, you've already done 60 damage. So this could be decent. So basic Pokemon, so you don't have to evolve it. Has a 2 retreat cost and a grass weakness. We'll see if people end up using this. It could be interesting. Skarmory has 80 HP. This is moving to our steel types. And let's see, 1 energy, Metal Arms does 20 plus damage. If this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached, it does 30 damage. So this could be good. 1 energy do potentially 50 damage. I'm kind of liking Skarmory for a metal deck. Registeel. Skarmory is weak to electric, like offline type Pokemon, seem to be. And 1 retreat cost. Registeel, 110 HP. Requires 3 metal energy, steel energy. I don't know. Keep using those interchangeable. Does 90 damage. So guaranteed 90 damage, no effects. 2 retreat cost, and is weak to fire by 20 plus. Sheldon evolves from a fossil. 1 steel and 1 colorless. Do headbutt, does 50 damage. Not too bad. Bastodon, I think that's 160 high HP. Guarded Grill. If any damage done to this Pokemon by attacks, flip a coin. If head, this Pokemon takes 100 less damage from the attack. What? If any damage done to this Pokemon? This could be crazy if you keep getting heads. 100 less damage. It has 160 HP. I'm kind of liking this. It requires 2 steel type and 1 colorless. Headbang does 80 damage. Requires 4 energy, more than you need on the Pokemon to retreat. I'm kind of liking this though. Potentially with the Alga here to help power it up. We'll get to that in a minute. Here's another Wormadam, a steel type one. Requires 2 steel type energy. And does 50 plus damage. Flip a coin until you get tails. This does 30 more damage for each heads. This could do a lot of damage. You could do anywhere from 50 to 5,000 damage. The 5,000 wouldn't ever happen more than likely, but I kind of like this the best of its evolutions. Yeah, 1 retreat, 20 plus fire weakness. I kind of like this card. You gotta hope for the heads though. I don't know, 50 damage for 2 energy is not terrible. Anyway, Bronzor does has 60 HP. Its tackle does 30 damage, requires a steel and a colorless energy, 20 plus fire weakness, and a 1 retreat cost. Bronzong, 120 HP, 2 steel and 1 colorless for guard press, does 60 damage. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 20 less damage. Not too bad. 3 retreat cost. So you do 60 damage, you take 20 less damage next turn. Okay. Probopass. I told you with Nosepass earlier that its evolution was a steel type. That's why it had no colorless. This one had colorless energy. No fighting type energy required. Probopass has 130 HP. Triple Nose does 30 plus damage. Flip 3 coins. This attack does 50 more damage for each heads. 50. So if you get all 3 coins, you're doing 180. I think that's enough to knock out a Pidgeot EX in 1 attack without a Giovanni or anything. So I like Probopass. And one of the big cards in the set that we saw is one on the pack, Dialga EX. This is one of the ones I'm wanting to try to make a deck with first if I can get it. Hopefully I can get it tomorrow. 150 HP. And Metallic Turbo is its first attack. Requires 2 steel type energy. So it will take 2 turns to get going, unlike Palkia, which can do 30 damage on the first turn. But this one has a great effect. Take 2 steel type energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. So do this attack and attach 2 steel type energy. Attach 2 steel type energy to Triple Nose. I was reading its attack. To Probopass. And you could do this 2 turns and Probopass is ready to go. And then with 4 energy, it does 100 damage. No effects. So you could have another Dialga on the bench and power it up in 2 turns and be able to hit for 100. Only has a 2 retreat cost and 20 plus fire. This would work great for a colorless deck too. Like if you're playing with colorless Pokemon like Licky EX, we'll talk about in a minute. Okay, let's move on to Heatran. 120 HP. It requires 3 steel type energy for its attack. Steel tackle, 110 damage. This Pokemon does 20 damage to itself. 3 retreat costs, 20 plus fire weakness. Not the biggest fan of this. Does a lot of damage for 3 energy. Guaranteed, but you do damage to yourself. I don't know. This could be okay. Yeah, it could be okay. That's only 20 damage. If you can do 110, 120 with a Giovanni, so you could knock out like a Pikachu EX in one attack and only do 20 to yourself. I don't know, this might not be too bad. We only got 3 dragon types, so you have the same evolution line. Gibble here, 60 HP, colorless energy required, and 20 damage. It has no weakness, and its retreat is just 1 energy. So kind of basic. Its weakness is kind of what's special about this whole evolution line. They have no weakness. Okay, Gabite, 90 HP. It requires a water and a fighting energy. Okay, and does 60 damage. Same 1 retreat cost. Okay, Garchomp. Its ability. You must discard a card from your hand in order to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may draw a card. So you can discard any card you want from your hand and draw another card. You can only do it once during your turn. So its ability can be pretty good. It does 100 guaranteed damage, only 1 water and 1 fighting. If you have a mixed deck of that, this may be okay. I think there's a card later that may help with this. Yeah. So next we got Lickitung. It does 80 HP, has a 3 colorless attack, and does 50 damage. Not a whole lot for a 3 colorless attack, 2 retreat costs, 2 plus fighting weakness, but Lickilicky EX, this evolution, does 160 damage. Licking Fury does 100 damage plus, so guaranteed 100, requires 4 colorless energy. Flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 40 damage for each head. This until you get tails, so this could do a lot of damage, and it starts off with 100. With something like Dialga EX here, you could power it up in 2 turns. It has a 4 retreat cost. I like this card. We got another Eevee. We've got a lot of Eevees, but there's evolutions in the set, so of course there's probably going to be an Eevee. Quick Attack does 10 damage, and flip a coin. If heads, it does 20 more damage, so 10 or 30 damage. One of the ones a lot of people like to use is flip a coin until you get tails, and it does 20 damage for each. I may rather that one than this one. Fighting weakness of 20 and a retreat cost of 1. Porygon, I like the art on this. 60 HP. Beam does 20 damage, 1 retreat cost, 20 plus fighting. Weakness, basic. Porygon 2. 80 HP. Same 1 energy, but does 30 damage. Same weakness and retreat. Porygon Z, 140 HP, jumps quite a bit. 3 energies required, 3 colorless energy. Bug Beam, 80 damage. This change the type of the next energy that will be generated for your opponent to one of the following at random, and it's all the energy. So this could really screw up your opponent if you keep attacking with this and they keep getting energy they can't use. This could be annoying to be playing against, especially if you haven't powered up your Pokemon, or if your Pokemon require you to discard cards. Yeah, we'll see how. I kind of wonder how this will be played. Apom, 60 HP. Tail Jab, 1 colorless, 20 damage. Weakness of 20 plus fighting. 1 retreat cost. Ambipom, 90 HP. Double hit. 40 times. Flip 2 coins. Does 40 times the number of heads. I probably wouldn't use these two, honestly. You can do 40, 0, 40, or 80 damage. I don't know. I don't think I would want to do that. 1 retreat. 20 plus fighting weakness. We've got Starly here. Of course, it has an electric weakness because it's the bird. And 1 retreat cost, 50 HP. Pluck. Before doing damage, discard all Pokemon tools from your opponent's active Pokemon. So this could be good for removing Pokemon tools. Staravia, 80 damage. Requires 2 colorless energy. Wing attack. Does 40 damage. Not terrible. 20 plus electric weakness. And 1 retreat cost. Staraptor, 140 HP. Requires 3 colorless energy to attack. Does 80 damage during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon can't retreat. So 80 damage and they can't retreat. Bidoof, 60 HP. Super Fangs' attack requires 2 colorless. Half your opponent's active Pokemon's remaining HP rounded down. So if you did this to a Mewtwo with 150, it would round it down to 70. So this can be interesting. Throw this out there first and then attack with something heavy and get it knocked out. Something strong that you wouldn't normally be able to knock out. And it requires 2 retreat costs, so you'd have to use both energies to retreat or use a leaf. But I don't know. This one could be interesting. I can see people probably using this in a deck. Maybe alone without its evolution. Bibarel has 110 HP, 2 colorless energy. Rolling tackle does 60 damage. Same weakness and retreat. Baneri, 60 HP, 1 energy required for attack, does 10 damage, not great. 20 plus fighting weakness, and 1 energy retreat. Lopunny has 90 HP, same 1 energy required. Jump kick for his attack, 20 damage. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, so 20 damage to active Pokemon, 20 damage to a bench Pokemon. I probably wouldn't use this. It only does 20 damage to active Pokemon and 20 damage to a bench Pokemon, so I don't think this would be that great. Glameow, 60 HP, 1 colorless required, does 40 damage. Flip a coin. If tails, this attack does nothing. Has a higher than normal attack for 1 energy, but if you get tails, it does nothing. 1 retreat, 20 plus fighting weakness. Purugly, 110 HP, 3 colorless energies required for its attack, does 60 damage. Your opponent reveals their hand. Choose a card you find there and shuffle it into your opponent's deck. So that's interesting. I don't know that I would use it. 60 damage for 3 energy. It's a first stage. 3 retreat cost. I probably wouldn't use this. Chatot. Fury attack 20 times. Flip 3 coins. Does 20 times for each heads. Only requires 1 energy. It's a bird, so it's weak to electric. 1 retreat cost. So with this attack, you could do 0 to 60 damage. So, Fan Rotom, 80 HP, 2 colorless required. Spin Storm, flip a coin. If heads, put your opponent's active Pokemon into their hand. That's interesting. Into their hand, so any energies attached to it would be gone. And they would have to re-evolve. But it's a flip a coin, and it requires 2 energy. So I think for those reasons, I would probably not use it. Electric weakness of 20 plus, and a 1 energy retreat. Regigigas, 140 HP, requires 4 colorless to attack. Raging Hammer, 50 plus. This attack does more damage equal to the damage this Pokemon has on it. So 50 plus, however many damages on Regigigas. Probably wouldn't use this personally. And has a 4 retreat cost, 20 plus fighting weakness. Here's Skull Fossil. This will be the fossil you would use to evolve. I think it's that one, right? Yeah. Kricketot. So 40 HP like a fossil. Play this, treat like a basic Pokemon. You may discard this anytime you want. This card can't retreat. Armor Fossil, which is... where's that? Oh, here. Sheldon, which Sheldon evolves from. Same 40 HP, same effect. Okay, so getting into the regular item card. There's only one regular item card. Pokemon Communication. Choose a Pokemon from your hand and switch it with a random Pokemon in your deck. Okay. Choose a Pokemon from your hand. Switch it. I don't know. This is kind of like a... Could be okay, but I don't know. I think Pokeball is better. Probably. Why not just put Pokeball? I guess you could run both, but... Okay. Pokemon tool. We got 3 Pokemon tools. We've heard about them on Pokemon. So here they are. Giant Cape. The Pokemon this card is attached to gets 28 plus HP. So 20 plus HP to any Pokemon you attach this to. Not bad. Rocky Helmet. If the Pokemon this card attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, do 20 damage to the attacking Pokemon. So this could be good if you want to throw a Pokemon out there to like tank damage for a little bit. Sometimes your opponent want to attack you just because they don't want to do 20 damage themselves. And the last Pokemon tool, Lumberry. At the end of each turn, if the Pokemon this card is attached to is affected by any special conditions, recover it from all of them and discard the card. So it's basically like a full restore one time. So that could be good, but depends on how many people play with like effects that sleep or poison or fire or damage or confusion, how much this will end up being used. Okay, we're switching to the supporter cards. We've got Cyrus here. Switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has damage on it to the active spot. So Sabrina, this is kind of like it, except it's only one that's damaged. So I'm guessing this wouldn't work if they have no damaged Pokemon. But if they had just switched out a Pokemon they don't want to be knocked out, you could maybe get them to switch it back with this Cyrus here. This could be useful. We'll see. Team Galactic Grunt. Okay. Put one random Glameow, Skunky, or Croagunk from your deck into your hand. That could be good if you're playing with one of those cards in your deck. If you're only playing with one of them, you can guarantee it come into your hand. So that could be good. Cynthia, we saw this card in the trailer. During this turn, attacks done by your Garchomp or Togekiss do 50 plus damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. This is better than Blaine, I think. So let's go look. Garchomp does 100 damage, could do 150 damage. And Togekiss. Oh, Togekiss was... Where was Togekiss? Oh, here it is. Yeah, I thought it was in Psychic. Togekiss. So it does 60 damage, so it could end up doing 150 the first turn if you played it then. And if you played it after that, when it's doing 120 damage, it would do 170 damage. That is crazy. So that could be really good if you're playing with those Pokemon. Volkner. Choose one of your Electivire or Luxray. Attach 2 electric energy from your discard pile to that Pokemon. So they have to be in your discard pile, so you have to have lost energy by retreating or losing a Pokemon for this to be effective. So I don't really like this that much. Probably wouldn't use it. I can't think why I would want it. But maybe something will come up that I'm not thinking of right now. Dawn. Moving energy from one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. This could be decent. If you want to move around energy. Mars. Your opponent shuffles their hand into their deck and draws a card for each of their remaining points needed to win. So they could draw 3 down to 1. So this is better than the other one we had to make you do that. I think, but it's a supporter and not a trainer. Okay. And that's all the unique cards. Here are the special art cards, art rare cards. 1 star, I guess you'd say, here in TCG Pocket. The art on all these is really good. I can't see one I don't like. There's Lucario, we've seen it before. A lot of art rare cards, and here are the 2-star cards. Here, I'm just looking at this one. It's Regigigas and the 3 others here. All the 2-star cards here, and the 2-star trainers. There's a lot of rainbow border. 2 stars here. All look pretty nice. We got the 2 immersives, probably what everybody was thinking. The Palkia EX, the Dialga EX immersives, and the gold stars are the Palkia EX and Dialga EX. I'm kind of glad it's 2 packs instead of 3 this time. And let's see, I've got here, this is what cards are in the Palkia pack exclusively. So some cards are in both packs, but these are the ones that are in Palkia exclusively. Just going to scroll through here real quick if you want to look at those. And here are the Dialga exclusive cards. So scroll through here, and yeah, well, let me know what cards you're looking for and what cards you're most excited for and what pack you want to open the most. This video is really long, I know. It took a lot longer than I expected it to take. It's kind of late here. My wife's probably going to be mad that I'm already in bed. So thanks for watching. If you like the video, subscribe, or like the video and subscribe if you want to see more videos. And well, bye.